Right, rolling start, of course, for the Roadsports. So the safety car has been leading them round. It's already pulled into the pit lane, so the red lights are already on. And they go out now. Away we go then. And it is a pretty even start from the two on the front row, Adam Bessel and Josh Lawton in the Honda, but it's Graham Crowhurst in the BMW that goes around the outside, and another BMW is off into the gravel. That's Paul Browse off at the first corner in the Stowmarket glass liveried car, and it's going to be the Honda of Josh Lawton that has the lead through the Craner curves. He's got ahead then of Adam Bessel in the little Ginetta. Graham Crowhurst is in third, and then it's the Audi in fourth position. A great variety of cars, Josh, you were saying, in this Tegiwa Roadsports series.
That's right, and it's Josh Lawton that leads then in the supercharged 1994 EG Honda Civic. So great stuff there from Josh Lawton, who is really quick in this car, and he's trying to pull away early on then from Adam Bessel in the Ginetta. Lighter car, perhaps takes a little bit longer to get its tyres up to temperature. Then Graham Crowhurst and Ryan Parkin, and then Giles Kirk up there in fifth spot in his Seat, ahead of Johnny Weston Taylor, the XF4 champion, in the Lotus, and Crowhurst to the outside of Bessel. The BMW have more power, but it's heavier, so we'll have to brake earlier, but that doesn't stop Crowhurst from going around the outside to grab second spot then from Adam Bessel, who drops to third in the bright front-ended Ginetta G20, and he's now under pressure from the win of the last round, Ryan Parkin, who can't quite gain that position, I don't think.
No, so good racing in the very early stages of this race, and there'll be battles all the way down the field with more than 40 cars on the grid in this Tegiwa Roadsports Series race. There's always a battle for someone there. You can see the Corsa of James Birch going through, another relatively unusual racing car. And then you've got the Ginetta and the Lotus doing battle. That's the 8 car that was almost collected by one of the much heavier tin tops, I think. I think they may have got through that safely, hopefully. But that's the 53 car. You mentioned that already. Johnny Weston Taylor sharing that car with the multiple sports special champion, Andy Hiley, as well. That's one that that can go well. And he's got the number 92 Andrew Rath Seat Leon car behind him, and then it's Daniel Sylvester, who was successful last weekend in Hot Hatch at Anglesey.
And he's the Class B leader and ahead of Scott Parkin, impressively. Little look back at the 777, which is the Robert Andrade Seat, the ex-Time Attack racer. But about a second is on because Ryan Parkin's got past Adam Bessel, who's been losing positions in the opening lap or two of this race. And now that Parkin is third, he's going after Graham Crowhurst. But a long way out front is Josh Lawton. What a great effort from Josh in one of the oldest cars on the grid as well. So it's Crowhurst there in second. Third is Parkin. Fourth is Bessel. And I wonder if we've had an issue at the final hairpin.
Well, I wonder if that was Matthew Tidmarsh, because it looked as if he was about to be collected. Did he come through? I don't think he did. Certainly not in the top 20-odd positions at the end of the first lap, so possibly he did get collected.
All 42, though, did continue,
okay,
so I wonder if there was some debris.
Delayed. Yeah, it could have been some debris as a result of that. So here's Crowhurst in second position in that Art Car Tribute livery that he and his other half put on the car. Took them quite a long while to put that on in their garage. I think he told me earlier on in the year. He's in second. It's Ryan Parkin third. Adam Bessel is in fourth. Giles Kirk is in fifth place. And the Weston Taylor Lotus Elise is in sixth position. There further back, you can see the treble 7. Rob Andrade's Cooper coming through for the driver from Wolverhampton. He's just in behind Martin Gasby. And there is the damage on the Tidmarsh car, the Ginetta G40 for the car that he shares with Chris Webster. And so possibly that did have a little coming together. And is that a problem there for Josh Johnson as well in the number 21 Golf Mark 5?
Bigger problem for the Audi TT. Yeah, Johnson's got a bit of smoke, but the TT's hardly moving. That's the 72 car, which for today is Leon Pegg and Will Beach's car. There it is, very slow down the Craner curves. The Browse, the BMW that was in the gravel at the start, that has recovered to something like 23rd position after the second lap, just behind James Alford in his Honda Civic Type R, so that makes its way up the hill. But here's about a second, that continues on between Graham Crowhurst and Ryan Parkin. Meanwhile, the first fine lap of the race from Josh Lawton was a 1 minute 40.4, which was 7 seconds quicker than these cars were going here when we were last here 5 or 6 seasons ago, Ian.
Yeah, that's right. A little while ago that Roadsports were last here, and some really good cars out in this this series now. It's not a championship, just a series of races. The Tidmarsh car is for the pit lane after that damage it incurred earlier on. So there is our race leader, Josh Lawton. He was 2.2 seconds ahead at the end of lap 2. He's 3.2 seconds nearly ahead at the end of lap 3, ahead of that man, Graham Crowhurst, in the BMW M3. He, in turn, has got Ryan Parkin in the Audi TT TDI right behind him, and they're just starting to drop a little bit. I think Adam Bessel in the Ginetta that started on the front row of the grid. Alec Livesley will take that car over for the second part of the race. There is quite a sizable gap back then to Giles Kirk, who is still 5th in the Seat. Class B is still being led by Dan Sylvester from Scott Parkin, and Class C is being led by Matt Creed's Clio. He's in 23rd position, car 23.
But he does have a 25-second success penalty, so Matt Creed's got a lot of work to do. He was beaten last time out by Sam McKee. He's not racing this weekend. As Parkin challenging for second then on Graham Crowhurst. Crowhurst in this replica livery of the Jeff Koons Art BMW Le Mans car from 15 years or so ago, and Ryan Parkin chasing him down. Crowhurst telling me at the last BMW meeting that he's looking to do something perhaps a bit different, perhaps like Roadsports and Club Enduro, where he gets to race against different types of cars on a very competitive grid, as this Roadsports category is. So this is a bit of a taster to possibly moving on next season into something new. It's a big dusty moment at Redgate Corner there for one of the Ginettas.
Yeah, and that is the 154 car that has gone around. That's Matthew Fayers in the GT5, and he's the driver from Barrow in Furness, getting back into the race after that spin up at Redgate Corner, the exit of Redgate Corner.
That last lap, Crowhurst was quicker than Lawton, so the lead gap came down to 2.6 seconds. And it won't be very much longer because they get into traffic, I shouldn't think. Is this the Class D battle, or perhaps a bit further down the order? Ivor Mares, I think he's the leader of that class. There's actually some Class C cars around him, but Ivor Mares also, I think, with a 25-second success penalty because he's won the two most recent races at Snetterton and at Brands Hatch. But they've all been passed by Sarah Hobson, who I saw start from the pit lane in that Toyota. So she has gained more than 10 positions, I would say, from the start of the race. So perhaps somebody to look out for in Class C.
There you can see the 21 car of Josh Johnson. He is in 18th position in the Golf. He's got Saranga Sodej-Rahari just behind, Sarge, just behind him.
And then behind was the Audi that was going slowly. So the Audi TT driven by Leon Pegg is back up to speed now, which is good to see. And then behind, not far behind, was the Class C leader. We just got a glimpse of Matt Creed, who has pulled out about 6 seconds over Sam Dennis. So although he's got that success penalty, Matt Creed still could find himself in a good result by the end. He's got good pace, as he has done every time out, really, when we see Matt, and he's set a new record in that class as well. But this is a good battle. A little bit further down the order, got a Mazda MX-5 in this. That's Graham Tilley, the Formula Ford racer from the 70s and 80s. More recently has been racing in GT Cup, but he is out with his son this weekend, who I think might be making his race debut, Robert Tilley. So good to have Graham out in this. Quite different, I should think, to the GT3 Mercedes that he races nowadays.
Yeah, that's right. But good to have the Tilleys out with us here this weekend in this Tegiwa Roadsports Series race. 6 minutes or so before the pit window opens. There is the little BMW Z3 of David Aspden, the Yorkshire driver, and he's involved in a nice little battle there down the order. It also includes the Ginetta, does it not, of Rob Fennick, and also the George Whitehouse Mini Cooper as well, which I think had to come from the back of the grid after an issue in qualifying this morning. What position is this battle for, Josh? Can we see?
Something like 28th position.
28th, yeah, so outside the top 20, and there you can see the 114 Mini going up the inside of Aspden there, so George Whitehouse from Worcester making up another position, although Aspden not not keen on giving it up. Looked like he was trying to fight back there on the run up to Goddard's. But here is the fight, as it now is, for 5th, 6th and 7th places.
Yeah, recently up into 5th position has gone Andrew Raff. There's the Fayers Janetta that we saw in the spin. Aidan Hills running that car by the looks of it. Aidan Hills, very quick club racer and champion in Mazdas. And for Matthew Thayers, he's back on his way. But that was about a 5th we were watching, wasn't it? Andrew Raff has got ahead of Giles Kirk recently in the Battle of the Sayats. This is about a 2nd, which is getting closer to the leader, Josh Lawton. The gap, which was out over 3 seconds, came down to about 2. And now in traffic, I wonder if it'll come down any more to Graham Crowhurst, who continues to battle with Ryan Parkin, the 33-year-old from South Yorkshire, in this diesel-powered 2017 Audi TT. And then just behind them, Adam Bessel now seemingly up in some good speed, but they've got to lap that BMW here down the Craner curves, and Crowhurst much more committed, darts down the inside. Either side go the next two, Parkin and Bessel, and that brings Adam Bessel right onto the terms with Ryan Parkin, who's a bit offline for the old hairpin, Ian.
He is, and there's Ivor Mares that they're trying to lap as well. So does this mean Bessel's got some momentum up the hill towards McLean's? We'll see in a moment if there has been a change there. There is the leader, Josh Lawton, who's had a 2nd and a 5th so far this season. The 2nd place came at Sletton a couple of meetings ago. So he's now got a lead of a couple of seconds over Crowhurst, and then the next 3 quite close together. Bessel couldn't make anything of that run up to McLean, so he stays 4th at the moment.
They just both lap Graham Tilley and Ivor Mares, 2 long-time Formula Ford racers in some of the lower classes. We've had a spin there. Is that the Red Drop BMW?
Yeah, Sam Redrop, the Milton Keynes driver, has gone around at Goddard. Not quite sure how he managed that actually, but he's back out into the race.
And now Adam Bessel has got past Ryan Parkin into the Melbourne Loop, and we're on board with Ryan Parkin then out of the hairpin, up a gear and up another into 4th gear, I think that was, and now he's on the outside line. Brakes later. See the brake disc glowing there on the Parkin Audis. He braked so desperately late in that dark side developments run car. Now out of the corner he comes, under the bridge, up in 4th gear, and I think he'll pull another gear before he gets to Redgate corner. Bessel, though, defending very nearly a touch there, as there's been more drama around the circuit.
Yeah, and that's Mike Nash, isn't it? Number 48 in the BMW 330Ci. We saw him out in the Armed Forces race earlier on. Busy day for him today, and I'm afraid he's gone off the circuit there at Redgate.
Yes, there's yellow flags down this part of the circuit, so particularly in traffic, sort of troublesome really for the leaders. They have to abide to those yellow flag regulations. Hopefully Mike Nash will get back going. On the Fayers Aidan Hills run, Jeanette also looks like it may have been in strife again. Had green flags on the X. I wonder if he had another spin at Redgate where he spun earlier. So here's the leaders, all 4 leaders in shot, aren't they, with some back markers around them. So Lawton, Crowhurst, Bessel and Parkin now, not far away from the pit window opening as well. Great battle this is up front between 4 very different cars. You've got with the Ginetta G20, that dates her back a long way really, doesn't it? You've got the 90 Civic, you've got the 2000s BMW and the 2010s Audi. Great stuff. Yeah,
no, fantastic to see. They were separated by only 4 seconds at the start of the lap. They're about 20 seconds ahead then of Giles Kirk in 5th, who had got back ahead therefore of Andrew Rath's Leon as well, with Western Taylor and the Lotus also ahead of Rath now.
With these 4 so close, important to look at their pit stops as we see the Sofashari car off the road here.
Yeah, that's part up, isn't it, between Melbourne and Goddard, so looks like it's just a mechanical issue for Sarge, I'm afraid, and he's out of the race therefore.
So the only car of those 4 that doesn't have a pit stop penalty is Graham Crowhurst. Lawton's got 5 seconds. The Ginetta's got 10, the Bessel and Livesley car, and then Parkin's got 15. Some for success penalties, some for sequential gearbox. But that does mean those pit stops are going to be absolutely critical, aren't they, to the race, whether the drivers and teams can get their pit stops as close to that minimum time as possible.
That's right. Important that the pit lane work is done carefully.
Oh, the Genesis slow in.
It is. That's a shame. Is that terminal, or is he going to get back up to speed? We'll see there. Well, it's still there now, isn't it? So was that an intermittent issue, or is that something that's a sign of something that's going to be a terminal issue for Bessel and Livesley.
Wonder if they make an early stop, because the pit window will be open when they get to the pit lane, I think.
Yeah, it will be.
And that would, if there is a small issue, a good chance just to check that out. That car has traditionally been a bit slower in the pit stop, so it's not the easiest thing to get in and out of. It's a very small cockpit. So we'll see how that goes, where the other three don't have to change drivers, do they? So they just sort of go through the motions of the 60 seconds. Oh, yellows, isn't it? That's
Yellow
why
flags,
Crowhurst couldn't go past that slower Mini. Very good driving there, wasn't it? Under yellow flags, everyone realised what was going on and abide by the rules as drivers should do.
Absolutely right, good to see. So we are now into the pit lane window being open because we have less than 30 minutes left on the clock, and there is a pit stop being undertaken. That's Stephen Cogswell in the Nissan Almera handing over to Daniel Cogswell. So that is just about as early a stop as you could make, although they're already pushing it back out, so I'm just wondering if that was actually made before the 30-minute board was open.
They had the car on the jack, so I wonder if there was a puncture or something. They changed the tyre.
Yeah.
So perhaps that wasn't the mandatory stop.
Yeah, possibly, because it was a little bit early, I think, if it was, unfortunately. So there's our race leader, and his lead 1.6 seconds at the beginning of the lap.
No, the
Ginetta still there, but it's lost more ground, hasn't it? It's now 6 seconds behind the leader, Adam Bessel.
Just got a brief shot of the Toyota GT86. Good to see that out there. Just going through shot now, our Class B leader, Dan Sylvester, ahead of Scott Parkin and by a little way. So this is an excellent effort from Dan Sylvester because Scott Parkin has been so rapid in this car. He's won 3 of the races we've had so far this season in Roadsports. He has a chance of winning the Club Enduro Championship tomorrow as well, as the Western Taylor Lotus is slowing now. So the car that was running in inside the top 6 earlier on is slowing. Johnny Weston Taylor, I'm afraid. But that's Scott Parkin I was just talking about. But Dan Sylvester, I'm sure, will be delighted to have his Honda Civic up ahead of this car that had so much success this season.
It was brake problems for the number 13 car, the Cogswells. That's why that was in a little bit early. Thanks to Andy McEwen for letting us know.
And the James Birch car is making its stop now. This mighty Vauxhall Corsa. 1999 car with the Vauxhall C20 XE engine. Should really be racing tomorrow, that car, shouldn't it? James Birch, who has had success in previous seasons in this car and going well as well on occasions this year. Always good to see that out there. An unlikely race car, but very rapid in the hands of James, and that car prepared by Track Obsession. Actually started out as a drag racing car, that machine, but nowadays it's circuit racing. Now here's Weston Taylor, who was slow at the start of that, but I think still is. So Johnny Weston Taylor and Andy Heidi's Lotus Elite Series 2 for the pit lane, I suspect.
One driver that wasn't able to make the start was Will Hunt. He says he's absolutely gutted. He had to withdraw from today's Roadsports race. Just before he climbed into the car and he headed into the assembly area, he noticed a wet patch on the floor. It turned out it was a fuel leak. He wasn't able to fix it in time, but he vows to be back. So Will Hunt, who a former competitor in Hot Hatch, back with us in Roadsports, but sadly not racing today. Off the road has gone the 101 car, which is Rob Fennick.
Yeah, he's running in 25th position and fairly high up Class C actually, about third behind Creed and Sam Dennis. Matt Creed now some 18 seconds I think ahead in that class, so that's almost going to equalise out his success penalty. There's that Toyota GT86 I mentioned. Good to see that out there, although it might now be in the gravel because it ran very wide. Just about stayed out of the gravel for Lee Forrington, but good to have another type of car out of that Rogue Motorsport car. And just been passed by a Toyota Sleeker, another rare car to racing, that being driven by Sarah Hobson, the 34-year-old from Cheshire.
Yeah, and I guess the GT86 really the successor to the Celica. In terms of its position in the model range, I guess. There's the 117 car of Martin Gadsby.
Both there sort of followed on from MR2s, didn't they, as being the sort of the sports car from Toyota.
Here's Daniel Sylvester coming through in number 37. He's in 8th place overall. He continues to lead Class B. Someone has been off through the gravel at the old hairpin but come out of it. Yeah, Daniel Sylvester still leading Class B, and there's quite a lot of time between himself and Scott Parkin in the Golf, who's second within that class.
Bit of bumper, bit of trim come off that car that went through the gravel, but hopefully no real disaster. There's that Nissan Almera, very again another unusual car that we've got on the grid, but great looking car in the Nissan Super Touring livery that Laurent Aiello won the 1999 British Touring Car Championship in that livery, not that car, and that car back out on track after those brake issues that Andy McEwen reported recently from their early pit stop. Meanwhile, Josh Lawton leads by 1.8 seconds in the number 10 Honda Civic over 15 Graham Crowhurst, and a small gap back to number 6 Ryan Parkin, all very much in contention. There's Sam Dennis, who is second within Class C. We saw him out in the Type R Trophy earlier. So again, maybe someone just trying out a different format of racing, longer distance, with a big variety of cars, multi-class racing, very different to the Type R Trophy that Sam Dennis was racing in not much more than an hour ago.
Class D, that's still being led by the number 316 car, Ivor Mayers in his compact. Second in that class is the big Jag, the Jaguar XJ6 of Charles Jackson, who's making his Roadsports debut. His debut with 750 Motor Club as well this weekend. Normally races in the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. Day going from bad to worse for 154 Matthew Fairs, because his off the road, possibly this time for good, as the two leaders are together. They are coming up to lap the Josh Johnson Golf GTI Mark V, and a bit out of shape there is the number 10 car, the race leader, which is Josh Lawton, of course. Can Graham Crowhurst capitalise this on the run up to McLean's corner? He goes through on the inside to take the lead of the race there, and look how close Ryan Parkin is in third place as well.
Excellent racing this is. Then to the BMW M3 goes through of Graham Crowhurst. The supercharged Honda drops a second, but it's got a tighter line as they come out of Coppice corner. Which of these cars has more power? Well, it's pretty similar. Then you've got the diesel Audi just behind there in the hands of Ryan Parkin. Down they come into the S's then. As we said, they have all got differing pit stop length to come, so that may split them up, but it's been a great first part of the race. Perhaps that's why no one is pitting. They're enjoying this battle so much as they head up to the halfway distance, down into the Melbourne Loop. Crowhurst is a little wide, is he? No, he's okay, I think. And he's grabbed the lead then, making use of that traffic where Lawton was a bit offline, a bit sideways. And that allowed Graham Crowhurst to challenge Ryan Parkin just behind, right in it. Are any of them going to pit at this stage, halfway through the race? Yes.
They are, and it's Crowhurst who's just got the lead, promptly goes into the pits.
Yes, there won't be creditors of the leader just yet.
No, he won't. Andy McEwen is down in the pit lane. Let's see who he's got to talk to in this Tegiwa Roadsports race.
Well, action out on the track, lots of action in the pit lane as well. The pit window well and truly open, driver changes taking place, and Paul Browse has just jumped out of the 222 BMW. Paul, looked like a lively opening stint for you there. Talk us through it.
Went down the outside at turn 1, went to use the brakes, nothing there, so decided to floor it and go through the gravel. Took a while to get the places all back, but we got it back before the break, so we're making places up now. So we should go forward, I would have thought now.
And the car felt okay after that? No damage done?
No damage, just a lot of gravel and bit of bumpy ride. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of them things. It's an old car with old brakes.
Looks like a fantastic car to drive though, and on this new grippy Donington Park circuit you can really stretch its legs.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got good tyres on, but it felt quite grippy, and I mean, we were going around the outside of some there, and it felt really good. So it'd be good for tomorrow with some good tyres on. You know, I'm looking forward to that.
You had a very quick chat there with Luke as you sent him out. Any words of wisdom for him?
Yeah, watch the brakes. We've got no ABS, and it's locking up in most corners, so you just got to go easy. You know, just take your time braking, that's all.
Good advice, Paul. Thank you very much for having a chat with us. So Paul Browse out, Luke Browse in. There have been a few cars diving into the garages in the last few minutes with problems, so I'm going to head up there and investigate, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you very much indeed, Andy. We're just over halfway through this race now, 21 minutes to go. Number 10, Josh Lawton leads the race. From number 6, Ryan Parkin in second place. 15, Graham Crowhurst, showing us third on the screen at the moment, having just dived into the pits. Number 92, the RAF and Nib car is 4th. 117, Martin Gadsby is 5th. Robert Andrade, 777 is 6th. Daniel Sylvester is in 7th place, but there's just a third of a second between Lawton and Parkin as they've gone across the line to complete another lap, Josh.
Yeah, so that battle up front continues. Presumably they've gone across the line and not into the pit lane. We can't see the pit lane from our vantage point. But there's certainly, they're both still out there, aren't they? So they're leaving it till late in the window to stop. Josh Lawton and Ryan Parkin. Josh Lawton, I think, went on the podium at Snetterton. Yeah, he was second at Snetterton, in fact, behind Brad Burns and Rob Baker. And what have you spotted there, Ian?
Crowhurst back out into the race as well. There we see some form of a problem to the front wheel on the number 32 Lotus Elise of Mike Rayner, the driver from Richmond. I don't know whether that's the Richmond in North Yorkshire or the Richmond in London. There was some confusion of that at a branch of Greg's I read on the BBC website in the week.
Was Mike Rayner involved?
I don't think so. I think that's just incidental, but I'm not going to commit to which part of the country Mike Rayner is from.
Okay, here are our leaders. That flashing light bar on Josh Lawton's Honda. Ryan Parkin just behind. So Lawton, the 26-year-old from East Yorkshire, leads Ryan Parkin from South Yorkshire. So we've got a battle of the Yorkshire drivers up front then, heading towards the end of 15 laps of racing. As more pit stops happen down there in the lane. That is the 777 car of Robert Andrade, who was in 4th position, I think, when he stopped, so was going pretty well. And that's the Matty Taylor run, Seat, the MT Development Motorsport Engineering team. For Robert, the 49-year-old from Wolverhampton.
There's Ivor Mayers again. I think he's still leading in Class D, is he? Looks
Yep.
like he is. Yeah, in that BMW. Good to see Ivor.
I think we may have lost the Janetta, because I think the Bassel livery car's come back out since them problems. So
Yeah.
that's what Andy might be investigating as we speak.
Yeah, you can see the pit lane very busy indeed. More cars diving into it all the time. There's the big Jag of our newcomer.
Charles Jackson, the 32-year-old from Worcestershire, in this 1996 Jaguar XJ, just behind Ivor Mayers, who we're currently looking at. And Charles Jackson is new to racing, and he's built this car up, which he inherited from his late father, and he's racing it in his memory. And it's prepared by Auto Reserve Jaguar, as you can see there on the side of the car. And it's great to have this very different type of car. I've said that many times in this race, but there may be quite a few of these types of Jaguars out racing, but not normally with other things. So it's great to have Charles Jackson, the 32-year-old lettings agent, out with us for the first time.
Yeah, and he was a reserve. I think he was 3rd reserve when he got here, so delighted to actually get into the race as well. And I'm sure he's really enjoying throwing that big Jag around Donington Park this weekend. And I say going after a class victory potentially if he can catch and pass Ivor Mayers in the closing stages of the race. 17 3/4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, I think Jackson has pitted. I don't think Ivor Mayers has. Obviously, Mayers has that longer stop with his success winning at Snetterton and Brands Hatch.
So there's Mayers coming down towards us, followed by Jackson. Lawton and Parkin, I think, are still both out there, but they've only got another 2 minutes or so before the pit lane window closes. It's important to make your pit stop before the 15-minute mark in the race.
Yeah, so being on that, I think on the next lap, I would imagine.
There's the Lloyd Chafer car coming through, the multicoloured BMW E36 M3 for the driver from Dis. That was getting a wash when I arrived at the circuit this morning. And there's the the Audi that we saw in a little bit of strife earlier on. That's the car which was started by Leon Pegg. It should be William Beach taking over, and there you can see Will Beach getting into the car.
Yeah, that's a Motorsport run Audi. I think new build for this year for John Maudsley, who raced it at a previous round. Will Beach, I think, who's behind the category, behind the team, I should say. Capture Motorsport, you can see on the bonnet there now, getting aboard and seeing how it goes. It did come into the pits in 8th position, so one of the late stoppers, meaning that it got well up the overall position. Now, these are the top two, surely in there for the pits this time.
Well, if they don't this time, they'll be too late, won't they? Because there'll be less than 15 minutes to go as they come through. So it's Josh Lawton who is leading, the 27-year-old fabricator from Hull, just ahead of Ryan Parkin. Yet they do both dive into the pit lane right at the same time.
Graham Crowhurst was 1 minute and 27 seconds behind them as he started the lap. They have to go down the speed at the pit speed limit, and then they have to be stopped for Josh Lawton for 65 seconds and Ryan Parkin for 75 seconds. Lawton for 5 seconds after he finished second at Snetterton, and Ryan Parkin for winning last time out at Brands Hatch.
Just one car separating them in the pit lane as well.
Which is twin brother Scott Parkin.
Yeah, absolutely. Both the Parkin brothers, the Dark Side Developments guys, in at the same moment. Drink of water there for number 6 Ryan Parkin during the course of the 75-second pit stop.
We have our first track limit penalty of the event, which I'm sure will please some people. Car number 72, Leon Pegg and Will Beach, have a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits, but it's taken till race 4 and a long race to get there.
Absolutely right. So well done to all concerned. As there we can see the Luke Browse car. That is the one we heard from Paul a few moments ago with Andy in the pit lane. Where's that running? It's running in 16th position at the moment, just done a personal best lap actually. The only green on the timing screen at the moment, so Luke's just done a PB in that car, 1:44.79. Best lap of the race still with Josh Lawton, 1:40.40. And what on earth is James Alford doing? He's well off the circuit, I'm afraid, up at Hollywood, I think that is.
Oh, Redgate.
Well, the exit of Redgate just before Hollywood, isn't it?
Gone straight on a long way in, and now he's trying to get back out with hopefully not getting beached in the gravel. Now, where's he off to?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out where he is going there, because he's going across the direction. Maybe he's trying to get to the sort of place he could pull in and retire from the race. That's the 72 car, which has just got a 5-second penalty, so affronted by it was that Will Beach is pulling the car out of the race.
Okay, so has Crowhurst got ahead of Lawton and Parkin in the stops? There is Parkin, who had the longest penalty. And so there's Crowhurst. So there's Crowhurst in the BMW. Now there's Lawton, more than 5 seconds behind, I would suggest.
Yes, definitely.
So that, and there, Parkin, who should have had a 10-second longer stop, probably within 10 seconds to Lawton. So it's Josh Lawton who's lost out. There's another front runner in strife, which is Giles Kirk, who was running, I think, in the top 6 in the early stages in his Seat. A bit further down the order now, and will be plummeting at this stage with further issues. But Graham Crowhurst, who he lost out, didn't he, at Silverstone on his one-off Roadsports Day appearance last season, is now potentially, with 13 minutes to go, on his way to a victory at Donington.
Yeah, so pit stops have worked out well for him. He gave a little wave to Lloyd Schaefer there, who he was lapping. I don't know if that's just because he's another BMW driver and he's waving to a fellow BMW pilot, but nevertheless showing his thanks for making it relatively easy for him to get through. He's coming up to lap that Charles Jackson Jaguar now, and also the number 71 MR2 Roadster of Morgan Cleesby.
Yeah, Lloyd Schaefer, you just mentioned, who went a lap down, is a 32-year-old service manager from Norfolk. He's been racing for 10 seasons now with this 3.2-litre 1997 BMW M3. There he is. Oh, the Audi TT's got that going. Will Beach. So that's the second time the car has slowed, and this time even stopped. Got going, but not into the pits. So Will Beach has potentially figured out the issues.
The 211 car, Giles Kirk, that's been having gearbox problems. The car jumping into neutral, which might explain its demise. And also the other car, or one of the other cars in strife, has been the Johnny Weston Taylor Andy Hiley Lotus Elise. That was overheating. It had to take the grass early on to avoid some other cars, and presumably some grass has caused that car to start overheating.
In Class C, Matt Creed has retained his lead despite the longer pit stop. Sam Dennis is second, but Sarah Hobson up to third from the pit lane start. So that's a good job from her in the Toyota Celica, and is about 10 seconds behind Sam Dennis. So we'll see if that gap comes down. But there's our Class B leader. That's Dan Sylvester. He's in 6th overall in that Honda Civic. And again, one of the older cars on the grid, that one. And he leads the class by about 9 seconds, I think, over Scott Parkin, with Johnny Monday in third.
Yeah, it's the ex-Chris McCloy Honda Civic that he's using to good effect, winning races in hot hatch this season, including at Anglesey just a week ago.
We haven't mentioned Class D in that little rundown. Ivor Mayers has held on. He is about 10 seconds ahead of Charles Jackson with the Cleesby Toyota in third.
Okay, well, the gap for the lead was 11 seconds at the start of the previous lap. We've got Josh Lawton just coming across the line now to complete lap number 19, and the gap, which was 11 seconds, has come down to 10.19 seconds, but he would need to close faster than that with Josh in the Honda Civic to win this race. So it's looking good for Graham Crowhurst, and there's another 6 seconds or so between Lawton and Parkin, although that did come down by 6/10 on the last lap.
Just looking there at Johnny Monday in that Civic that is third in Class B, sometimes C1 racer. Johnny Monday in that Type R going pretty well. There's Sylvester losing 2 positions. Firstly to the Volkswagen Golf that's having a good run. Jack and George Wright. Jack Wright at the wheel at the moment, and Robert Andrade as well. They're both Class A cars. But they have just passed Dan Sylvester, who they were behind at the start of the lap. But yeah, this is the best we've seen from the Golf, isn't it? The Wright brothers that have raced in Track Day Trophy in the past, but seemingly don't remember them being this high up in their first season in Roadsports. That's good to see.
I suppose you could say the Wright brothers are really taking off this season. You've got the 7-car right behind them, though, so that's very close. They're coming up to lap number 11, which I think will now be Robert Tilley in the Mazda MX-5. Oh, the 72 car's back into the race as well, I noticed. The 34 Lotus is Martin Gambling. We've not really mentioned him, really, during the course of this race so far. Former BMW compact racer, low-cost racer, sports specials racer. He's done lots of racing in different categories with the 750 Motor Club down the years.
14th he's running, and I think 5th in Class B. And a new car, I think, to him this, so that's good to see. He is ahead of car. I think he's just lapped from 32 Mike Rayner, who's in 23rd spot with 9 minutes of the race to go.
The Ginetta, the Bessel and Lively car, we were sort of wondering what the issue was there. That's also gearbox issues, I'm afraid.
Hopefully it can be fixed for tomorrow, because they are due to be out in Club Enduro. So that would explain why the car slowed, obviously not being able to go up a gear at that point, and that problem has got bad enough that the car has been parked. Graham Crowhurst there is about to lap the car in 9th position, so he's about to lap Scott Parkin, and he leads still by 10 seconds. He just did a personal best last time, Crowhurst, a 1 minute 40.46, but potential issue for someone else.
Yeah, looks like a black flag is being hung out for somebody, which will tell them that they need to visit the clerk of the course. But we can't see who that board or that flag is being shown at the moment. So there is, although there is possibly a pit lane speeding penalty, it could be for that, I guess.
Sylvester's lead over Parkin in Class B came down to 6 seconds and was 3 seconds slower on that last lap. We saw him lose those 2 positions in the race. And this car that's not used to doing this length of race, I wonder how that's going for Sylvester. We'll have to pick up on that in a few moments' time. There he is. Now that was 6 seconds at the start of the lap to Scott Parkin. And as they come up across the line, the gap is now 3.5 seconds. That's again a big gain for Scott Parkin. And he has set the fastest lap in Class B as well now, 1 minute 44.8. And potential battle then in the final stages for a class win there, Ian.
That's right, so we'll keep an eye on that in the remaining 7 minutes of the race. He's just been lapped by the looks of it as well.
That's not good.
By the race leader. There is the 89 car, which is a little bit on the sideways side of things, which is Scott Parkin, who is the one chasing after him.
Yeah, he had 2 wheels on the grass going into the old hairpin, and that's what put him sideways. Not ideal when you're trying to chase down a class leader.
I think he has lost time as a result of that, hasn't he? The gap looks to have gone out from what it was at the start of the lap. It just goes past Mike Nash. Also just behind him as well is Sam Redrop, who we saw had a spin at Goddard's in the earlier stages of the race. 6 minutes or so to go now. So only a handful more laps for Scott Parkin to try and close in 3.5 seconds on Daniel Sylvester.
Something's happened to Matt Creed, because Sam Dennis now leads Class C by the looks of things, and Matt Creed had a very slow lap, possibly into the pit lane, I wonder.
2:31, so yeah, sort of 40 seconds off his normal times. There's the Lee Forrington car, that's into the pit lane, I think, for a penalty to be served, which was possibly the reason for the black flag.
So Sam Dennis leads Class C. Sarah Hobson's now been reclassified as a Class B car, so if Creed is out of it, the Fenwick and Shepherd car will now be second in class. and the Tilly Mazda will be third.
Oh, and problems for Sylvester. He's slowed coming out of Goddard, and that means that there's a change of lead within the class. Seems to be back up to speed now, but it's Scott Parkin, number 89, that has just gone through to take the lead of Class B.
So I wonder what may have caused that problem. And Johnny Monday, who's third in Class B, is into the pit. So this is all going a bit wrong for multiple drivers in successful positions.
And that could promote the Corsa onto the podium.
Is that the black flag? Is that going to the penalty box?
Looks like it is, isn't it? Yeah, going to the penalty box at the end of the pit lane for Monday, and I think that may well be some kind of pit lane speeding issue that is being served there.
That might promote James Birch in the Vauxhall Corsa. He's next up in Class B. There's Graham Crowhurst. We haven't seen much of him since the stops. He's leading the race. He's about to lap the car in 6th position now. Just showing how quick those top 3 cars have been in this race. Absolutely phenomenal pace. We mentioned earlier 7 seconds underneath the lap record, which is mightily impressive. Well, probably about the top dozen cars are underneath the lap record. Such is the change of pace, but in particular those top 3 cars much quicker than anybody else.
Yeah, Josh Dawson still got the best lap of the race, a 1:40.40, but Crowhurst in a 40.46 and Parkin a 40.47, so they're all very evenly matched. But that's about 4 seconds a lap faster than the car in 6th place. When you multiply that by the 21 laps we've had, you see why we now have the cars that far up the order being lapped.
There's Birch in that Corsa. There's Ivan Mayers leading Class D by 13 seconds over Charles Jackson. And despite the issue early on, I think with an early pit stop, the Cogswell Nissan is up to 3rd in Class D.
Yeah, did it serve all the pit stops it was supposed to do? I'm not quite sure whether it did or not as a result of that. But
see if anything comes of it, but progress has been made. There's Sam Dennis just ahead of Ivan Mayers, who leads Class C. So this is a really good effort from Sam. Matt Creedy's back up to speed. He's 20 seconds behind though, so he is still in 2nd in Class C. So the Fenwick and Shepherd Ginetta 3rd. But I don't think Matt Creed will be able to catch that gap in the small amount of time left. So Sam Dennis looking good for a class win here. There's the Jack Wright Volkswagen. So this is the battle for 6th position, isn't it? He's involved in that battle with Wolverhampton man Robert Andrade. And they've got Josh Lawton not that far behind them, the man in 2nd place to lap them.
So through the Fogarty S's goes that fight for 6th position. The Golf and the Leon there. I'm just coming up to lap the Almera. There in the background you can see the car in 2nd position, I think.
Yeah, Josh Lawton.
Number 10, as he looks to put a lap on these cars as well. I think Graham Crowhurst is probably just about completed. There he is, just outside our commentary box window. He's just completed his 24th lap. He's going to get 2 more laps out of this. And he is still, I think, about 10 seconds roughly clear of Josh Lawton, who's just gone across the line in 2nd place. In fact, it's down to 8.73 seconds now, the gap between them. So 1st and 2nd, just about 9 seconds apart. Ryan Parkin is still in 3rd place. He's a similar gap back behind Lawton as Lawton is to Crowhurst.
This Wright and Andrade battle behind Martin Gadsby, who's had a good run in the BMW Compact M3 engined car, in 5th position overall, driving solo today. So Martin will be pleased if he can hang on. There he is, I think, just about to be lapped by Graham Crowhurst. So there's only going to be 4 cars on the lead lap, which is pretty rare.
It is. It's unusual, and you know, it's important to emphasise that several of these cars that laps are also in the same class within Class A as well. So while it's been quite evenly matched at the front, also there is quite a bit of differential between the top sort of probably 4 or 5 fastest cars, if you include the Ginetta that's had those gearbox issues, and the rest.
Yeah, that's right. Sylvester is carrying on, but slowly. James Birch is 3rd in Class B, but 30 seconds behind. So Sylvester could still finish 2nd in Class B if he can bring the car home. He's about 10 seconds off the pace at the moment, but that might be enough to hang on to 2nd. Birch, let's say 3rd, and out after the penalty Monday, about 3 seconds behind Birch, who we see now.
There's Birch on 3 wheels down through the Craner curves, really pushing on in the Track Obsession Corsa, which will be right at home here tomorrow, when Donington Park is celebrating Vaux Valves. Big celebration of the Vauxhall mark. And over the line there goes the treble 7 car, in still battling for that 6th position there. Just behind is the 21 car, which is the Josh Johnson Golf, which is a lap further back in 14th position. There's the little Corsa again.
Yeah, it looks like it might be being caught by Johnny Monday, though, for 3rd in class. Leaders have started their final lap, haven't they? As we see Sam Dennis, our Class C leader. We're looking, I think, for our race leader, though, on this final lap of the Roadsports race. There he is, Graham Crowhurst, about to, I think, put a 2nd lap on Sarah Hobson, a 3rd lap possibly, actually, on the car in 20th position. But Graham Crowhurst looking good then for victory in the Tegiwa Roadsports Series here at Donington Park, which would be a really good start of what could be a very successful weekend for Graham Crowhurst. Twice a class champion in the BMW Car Club, and he turns left and right through the S's, about to lap the Class D leader, but just 2 corners to go, the 2 hairpins to go in.
That's right, and Graham Crowhurst then, I think he was keen to get a win under his belt in the Tegiwa Roadsports Series during the course of the season, and it looks like he's going to do it. Just 1 more corner to go now for Graham Crowhurst. Tomorrow he'll be trying to wrap up the BMW Car Club Racing Championship title, although that's not going to be easy for him, but he comes out of the final corner now. Checkered flag is out, and it is waved to. A very delighted indeed Graham Crowhurst. He bangs the roof of the car in celebration. He takes the win. Ivor Mayers has gone through as the Class D winner, and we just saw Josh Lawton about to go into shot to take 2nd place in the Honda, having led for a little while. Ryan Parkin it is that takes 3rd. Matt Creed, it comes through. He's flashing his lights. Where did he finish in the end? 2nd within Class C. And then the question was, who's going to be 3rd in Class C? There's our Class B winner, and that is Scott Parkin in 8th place overall.
Janetta got back out right at the end. He'd only done 3 laps. The Webster and Tidmarsh car patched up. A little bit of preparation for tomorrow, hoping that car's all in one place. So can Dan Sylvester, we've got a mini off on the last lap. That's the Whitehouse car, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
George Whitehouse. Well, yeah, see if Sylvester hangs on to 2nd in class. He was 8 seconds ahead of James Birch going on to the last lap, but much slower with Johnny Monday behind. So 2nd in Class B could be something to look out for, probably coming across the line in a few moments' time. See if it's Sylvester, Birch or Monday. I think it could be any of the 3 of them, Ian, coming through in a moment or two.
Yeah,
it's James Birch.
Birch. Yeah, he's ahead of Monday, so he takes the podium position within Class C.
There's Sylvester falling behind both of them on that last lap.
He has, and so where does that leave him in Class?
So that's 4th in the end.
4th in the end, yeah. So behind Birch and Monday, Scott Parkin, of course, taking the Class B win. Class C, of course, going the way of Samuel Dennis. There he is now, just coming up to complete his race. In fact, on the Honda Civic Type R from Matt Creed and I think Rob Fennick, although he does have a 5-second penalty. That's not going to make a difference, though. And Class D, as we've said, has gone the way of our friend Ivor Mayers in 28th place overall from Charles Jackson, and the Cogswell Almera as well. So an entertaining race that for the Tegiwa Roadsports Series race, and we will see if we can bring you a rundown on the results from that one. Certainly it was a win for number 15 Graham Crowhurst. 26 laps he completed, and he did so 10.18 seconds ahead of number 10 Josh Lawton in 2nd place. 3rd was number 6 Ryan Parkin. 4th number 92 Phil Nebb and Andrew Rath. 5th was 117 Martin Gadsby. 6th was the 46 car of the right. 7th treble 7 Robert Andrade. 8th the Class B winner number 89 Rob Parkin. 9th number 67 Lloyd Chafer. 10th number treble 2 Paul and Luke Browse after the offer on the first corner. James Birch 56 and Johnny Monday number 14 rounded out the Class B podium in 11th and 12th overall. And moving down the order, we will see what happened as far as Class C is concerned. Confirmation of number 95 Samuel Dennis in 18th place overall, taking the Class C victory from 23 Matt Creed and the 101 car, which was the Rob Fennick machine. And then on the next page, that's where we'll find our Class D winner, Ivor Mayers, number 316 from 341 Charles Jackson, and the 13 car of Daniel and Stephen Cogswell, the Nissan Almera, and they complete our rundown of the different classes as well. But that was a very good final Tegiwa Roadsports Series race of the season. Always good fun. And we are going to head down to the pit lane now. Andy McEwen is there, and we'll hear some of the stories from that Tegiwa Roadsports Series race.
Well, as always, lots of excitement in the Tegiwa Roadsports Series, right down to the closing stages. Few of the front runners, I think, in some of the lower classes, picking up penalties after their pit stop infringements, but not Graham Crowhurst, who is here, and he is victorious. Come and stand over near your car, because we want to get plenty of this on camera. One of the best looking cars on the grid, Graham, and the fastest seemingly. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think things went my way a little bit with the penalties that Josh and Ryan had, but I still seem to have a bit more of a gap than I was expecting after the pit stop, so I'll take whatever happened.
The car seemed to run pretty flawlessly as far as I could tell.
Yeah, thankfully it did. Hopefully you haven't jinxed me for tomorrow. But no, I was really excited to do this race. Hopefully maybe enter it next year and do a year of it. So really good. Really thanks to German Auto Works as well for stepping in to help run me as well.
You touched upon it there, though. The main focus now becomes the BMW races coming up later this weekend, a championship to be won there. Do you think you've learned anything in this one that's going to help you in those races?
Well, I mean, it's testing, basically, first and foremost. Unfortunately, tomorrow we've not got many in my class, so I'm only going to score half points. I dropped those points, but I'm relying now on Steve having points taken off him. But I'll go out there, I'll have some fun, and yeah, we'll just, whatever happens, happens.
It's made my head hurt just thinking about it. Best of luck for that tomorrow, Graham. Thank you very much for having a chat. Ryan Parkin is hi, Scott Parkin even. Scott, yeah. I do that every time, Scott. I'm so sorry. Congratulations, class victory for you though. Happy with how that went?
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of a shame to get it right near the end. Danny was well in the lead, deservedly as well, and he was suspicious that he might get fuel surge towards the end, and I think that's what he got. So he seemed to slow down, get back going. Looks like he finished, but I'm not sure what position he managed to finish in. So shame to get it like that. I think he had the measure of me today, pace-wise. But yeah, I'll take the victory if he's not going to take it. So hopefully he's with us on the podium.
Well, exactly, and you've been on the other side of that so many times in the past as well, haven't you? But the car seemed to run pretty well in that one. Any issues at all?
No, we seem to be destroying the front left tyre immediately. As soon as I went out, it was squealing. For that. But so we'll try and make some setup changes ready for tomorrow, because obviously this full race is less than one stint in the Club Enduro, so I need to make sure that I can keep it together for the full 2 hours, which is the most important one. So this has just been like a extended test really for us.
And is that things like front camber settings then, for example? Because I know on this new surface it's grippy, but it does seem to be pretty aggressive on the tyres. You've got to be a bit careful dialing that up, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why we need to sort of recalibrate what we're believing is the right setup for this. So we've got some data now. We know 45 minutes of running, so hopefully the guys can make some tweaks, and fingers crossed that'll help us improve for tomorrow.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Scott Parkin, who is the class winner. Now, we did have Ivor Mayers briefly. We do now, though, have Sam Dennis, who's victorious in Class C. And Sam, you look pretty happy with that.
That's my first victory, and my first podium, entirely. So I've had Dave and the guys at Motion Motorsport supporting me and Type R Trophy for 3 years now, and this is my first outing in Roadsport, so absolutely buzzing. I love it.
Talk us through your race then, because obviously running in Class C, you kind of get sort of swallowed up in the middle of the pack, and you can sometimes have the busiest race out of all of the classes, I think.
Potentially. It was quite clear, I found. I was in quite a lot of clean tracks, so once I just settled into my race and just did my own thing.
Of course, you're more used then to that kind of sprint racing that you've had in the Type R Trophy. What do you have to change personally with your driving style, your approach to a race coming into a sort of mini enduro like this?
Maybe be a little more conservative at the beginning, because obviously in the Type R Trophy it's on from the very beginning. You have to be full throttle, but maybe just take it a little easier to then just pace myself out a little more. But it seems whatever I did seemed to work.
Well, you've got the hang of it clearly. Do you fancy a bit more of this Club Enduro stuff in the future maybe, or Tegiwa Roadsports even?
Yeah, 100%. We're planning on doing Club Enduro next year, and maybe a few more rounds of this, but we'll see.
Good stuff. Congratulations on the class victory. So there are 3 of our class winners. Ivor Mayers did stop briefly and then had places to be, I think. So 3 of our class winners from the Roadsports race. More one-make action coming up very shortly. A bit of a clean-up operation out on track, I think. Once that's done, though, the Mighty Minis and the Super Mighty Minis will be released out onto the circuit.